She leaned close to the fence, eyes on the street, and whispered, "My husband is on a trip." Then she looked straight at me and said, "Can you help me move some furniture?" That was the first real thing Emily ever said to me. Before that, it was only small waves and stiff smiles when we happened to step outside at the same time. She and her husband had moved in 6 months before I bought the house next door. By the time I arrived, his cars, his rules, his loud voice on the back porch were already part of the street. My name is Ryan. I bought the old yellow house on the corner in Columbus, Ohio. The one with peeling paint and a leaning porch swing. It was cheap because it needed work, and I work with my hands for a living. Carpentry, small remodels, decks, fences. I like things I can fix with wood and screws. People are harder. I first noticed something was off on the 3rd night after I moved in. I was on my front porch putting together a new porch light. Across the short strip of lawn, her house was quiet. No TV glow, no music, just a lamp in the front room. I could see her shadow moving back and forth across the window. Pace, stop, pace. Then a car pulled into her driveway. Not hers. A black SUV. It did not stay long. 15 minutes, maybe. The next morning I saw a crack in the glass panel of her front door and a thin bruise under her right eye, half hidden under makeup. She caught me looking, lifted the corners of her mouth into a fake little smile, and shut the door. After that, I tried not to stare. But I listened. On the day she whispered that line to me, I was in my front yard wrestling a dead bush out by the roots. July heat sat heavy on my shoulders. My gray shirt stuck to my back. I had dirt on my forearms up to my elbows. Sweat ran into my eyes. It felt good, simple. Dig, pull, drag. I heard her gate creak. I did not look up right away. If I looked too fast, it might scare her back inside. When I did glance up, she was standing there on her side of the fence. One hand on the old wood, the other wrapped around her phone. Her dark hair was pulled back. She wore a light blue blouse and jeans, like she had dressed for work and then never left. She watched the street for a long moment before she even noticed me. The road was empty. No SUV, no loud engine. Just a mail truck at the corner and a kid on a bike. Only then did she turn her head toward me. "Hey," I said, wiping my hands on my shorts. I kept my voice low and even. She took a breath like she had to remember how. Then she stepped closer. Her eyes were greener than I had realized, and tired. "My husband is on a trip," she whispered. The way she said it, it did not sound like small talk. It sounded like a warning and a chance at the same time. "Okay," I said. I did not know what else to say. "Business trip." She nodded once. 3 days. He left this morning. He hates it when things are moved. Her mouth pulled tight around the words. "But I need to move some furniture. Today." There was a pause while she studied my face. Maybe she was checking if I would laugh or ask dumb questions. I did neither. "What kind of furniture?" I asked. "Big," she said. "Heavy. He bought it. I want it gone." I took a step closer to the fence. I made sure my hands were empty, open. "Show me," I said. She exhaled, like that was the answer she had hoped for. Her yard was neat but tense. New shrubs and straight lines, no toys, no mess, no sign that anyone lived there except the two of them. The house itself was nice, white with dark blue shutters. It looked perfect from the street, like something in a catalog. Up close, I saw the cracks. A chipped step that no one had fixed. A small mark on the door frame at shoulder height, like something hard had hit it. She unlocked the front door and held it open for me. Her hand shook just a little on the knob. Inside, cool air wrapped around us. Not just from the AC. From order. Everything was in its place. White couch. Glass coffee table. Framed art on the walls, all lined up. No dust, no clutter. "This way," she said. Her voice was steady now, but I could tell it cost her effort. She stayed one step ahead of me, like a tour guide who did not want to turn her back for too long. We walked past the living room into a formal sitting room. There, against one wall, stood a huge dark wood cabinet. Old style. Carved legs. Heavy doors. It looked like it belonged in a fancy hotel, not in a simple house on our street. "That," she said. Just one word, but I heard what was under it. Years of arguments about style and taste, and who makes the rules. "Big one," I said. I walked up and pressed my hand against the side. "Solid. You want this gone?" "I want it out of here," she said. "Garage, curb, fire, I do not care. I cannot look at it anymore." I checked the floor. Hardwood, no rugs. "We should protect your floor. Blanket or something." Her eyes flicked to my hands, then to my face. I have old sheets in the hall closet, she said. I can get them. I will grab them, I said. You tell me where. She hesitated, then pointed. Second door on the left. In the hallway, I passed a mirror. For a second I saw my own face. Brown hair stuck to my forehead, jaw dark with stubble, tired eyes. I looked like a guy you hire to fix a roof, not to stand between you and your husband. I found a stack of thin old sheets and carried them back. Emily stood by the cabinet with her arms crossed. Not in anger, in defense, like she was holding herself together. You okay? I asked. Simple words. I will be, she said, but her eyes told a different story. We tipped the cabinet just enough for me to slide a folded sheet under each front leg. Wood creaked. She jumped at the sound. You can stand back, I told her. I got the weight. I want to help, she said. She put her hands on the side, fingers spread wide. If this thing tips, it will crush you, I said. Let me push. You can guide. Watch doors, walls, things I cannot see. That gave her a job that did not involve getting hurt. She nodded and stepped to the front. Where is it going? I asked. Garage, she said. For now. I dug my heels into the floor and pushed. The cabinet started to move an inch at a time, sliding on the sheets. Emily went ahead, opening the doorway wider, moving a small table, checking angles. Every few feet, she glanced toward the front of the house, like she half expected a car to appear on the driveway out of thin air. When we finally cleared the sitting room, I saw it. The wall behind where the cabinet had stood was a different shade. A wide, rough patch of fresh paint and newer drywall. A circle about the size of a dinner plate just above eye level. I stopped. Did you do that? I asked. Emily turned. Her eyes followed my gaze to the patch. Her face went still. Her fingers curled tight on the edge of the cabinet. He did, she said in a low voice. Last month. What happened? He said I talked too much, she answered. Her eyes did not leave the patch. He punched a hole in the wall. Then he called a guy to fix it before a client came over. He said it was embarrassing. My jaw clenched. The idea of a grown man putting his fist through the wall above his wife's head made my hands hot. Did he hit you? I asked. She flinched at the question more than she had at the memory. Her hand went to the side of her neck, to the collar of her blouse. For a second the fabric slipped, and I saw a fading yellow mark at the top of her shoulder. He is on a trip, she said quietly. That is what matters today. No, that was not all that mattered. But I understood what she was really saying. We had a small window. I could work inside it or waste it. Okay, I said. Garage. We moved the cabinet down the hall, past the kitchen, toward the door that led to the garage. My arms burned. Sweat ran down my back again, but I did not stop until the cabinet sat just inside the concrete floor. I straightened, chest heaving. Emily stood in the doorway, one hand on the frame, watching me like she could not believe it was that simple to move something he loved so much. You are stronger than you look, she said. A small real smile touched her mouth. So are you, I said. Her eyes met mine, and for the first time since I moved in, I saw something in them that was not fear or worry. I saw anger. I saw a spark. She opened her mouth to say something, but a car engine sounded faint in the distance. Her head whipped toward the driveway. Her whole body went tense again. He is not due back until Friday, she whispered. The engine grew louder. Tires on asphalt. Stay here, I said. I will check. I walked toward the front of the house, heart thudding as the sound drew closer. Through the thin curtains in her front room, I saw a dark car slow down as it rolled past her driveway. It was not the SUV. It was a silver sedan I did not recognize. The driver looked at the house for a long second, then pulled to a stop right in front. The man behind the wheel reached for his door handle. I stopped at the side of the window and watched the driver get out. He was not as old as I expected. Late 40s maybe. Dark hair going gray at the temples. Button-up shirt, no tie. He looked like he belonged in an office, not on our street on a hot afternoon. He glanced at the house number, then up at the front porch, like he was making sure he had the right place. Emily was behind me, just inside the hall. Is it him? She whispered. No, I said. Someone else. Her hand landed on my arm. Light, shaking. I felt the tremor through my skin. I could have lied and said it was nothing, but fear grows in the dark. Better to face it. I will answer, I said. You stay back. She nodded. I walked to the door and pulled it open before he could knock. Can I help you? I asked. He looked surprised to find me there. His eyes went over my dusty shirt, my bare arms, then passed me into the house like he was counting the rooms. He smelled like expensive cologne and coffee. "I am looking for Emily Cooper," he said. "Does she live here?" I did not move aside. "Who is asking?" He smiled a small tight smile. "Name is Paul Hart. I work with her husband, not for with." There was a difference in the way he said it. I filed that away. "She is here?" I said. "What do you need?" He shifted his weight. "It is about insurance," he said. "There was a hail claim last year. We need a few signatures for the file. It will only take a minute." His eyes slid again toward the hallway behind me. He was too curious for a guy with simple paperwork. Emily stepped up next to me before I could answer. Her hand left my arm, but stayed close. "It is okay," she said softly. "I know him." I glanced at her. Her face was calm, but her spine was straight like a board. She was putting on her mask. "Hi, Paul," she said. "Dan did not say you were coming by." "I tried calling," he said. No answer. "He told me he was on a plane and that I should swing by and help you with the paperwork. You know how he is about details." Her mouth pulled tight for a second. She knew exactly how he was. "Right," she said. "Insurance. Come in." She stepped back, and I had two choices. Leave them alone or stay. I chose a third. I moved aside but stayed in the doorway, in sight. Paul walked in and looked around with open interest. His gaze caught on the empty space where the cabinet had stood. The paint line on the wall showed clear. "That is new," he said. "Something missing?" Emily's face did not change. "We are doing some rearranging." "Makes sense," he said. "Dan loved that cabinet." He gave a short laugh. "Talked about it way too much at work. Guess not everyone has the same taste." He opened the folder he carried and pulled out a stack of papers. "Just some standard forms," he said. "Sign here, here, and here." They moved to the kitchen table. I stayed leaned against the wall, not hiding that I was there. Paul glanced at me once, maybe deciding if he should ask me to give them privacy. He did not. Maybe he knew better. Maybe he wanted me to hear. As Emily signed, his phone buzzed in his pocket. He pulled it out, looked at the screen, and his whole tone shifted. He hit answer. "Yeah," he said. "I am here." He listened for a second, then his eyes cut to the wall where the cabinet had been. "It is gone," he said. She moved it. Emily's hand stopped in mid-stroke. The pen pressed a dot into the paper. "Yes," Paul said into the phone. "No, the place is clean. Looks fine. She is here." "No, she is not with anyone." His eyes landed on me again. He almost winced, like he knew that last line was not true and did not like lying. "She is signing now," he said. "I will send you a picture." He hung up and forced his polite face back on. "Sorry," he said. "He is checking in on the claim. You know Dan?" "Yes," she said. Her voice was dry. "I know." She signed the last page and pushed the pen back across the table. Her hand brushed mine because I was closer than I should have been. She did not pull away fast this time. Her fingers rested on mine for one short second, warm and light, then left. Paul tucked the pages into his folder. "He worries about his investments," he said. "You moving things will make him nervous." "He is not here," she said. "He will live." Paul studied her. For a moment, the smooth office act slipped. I saw something like pity in his eyes. Then it was gone. "If he calls you," Paul said, "pick up. He gets worse when you do not answer." He glanced at me. "That is not advice. That is a warning." He walked back to the door. I stepped aside but followed him onto the porch. "You his friend?" I asked. "I know him," Paul said. "I know what he does to people who cross him." We stood there in the hot, still air, two men from different worlds sharing the same space for a moment. "She is not alone," I said. He looked at me, really looked, then nodded once. "Then do not make her pay for that," he said. He walked to his car and drove off. I stayed on the porch until the silver sedan turned the corner and was gone. The street went quiet again. Only a dog barked 2 houses down, and a lawn mower buzzed far away. Inside, Emily stood by the kitchen sink with both hands pressed flat on the counter. Her shoulders rose and fell with each breath. "You heard," she said. "Most of it," I said. She turned to face me. There was anger now. Not at me. At being watched, checked, reported on. "He called him from the plane," she said. "He can never leave anything alone." I moved closer to the table and pulled out a chair. "Sit," I said. She did, slowly. I sat across from her, close enough that we did not have to raise our voices. "Why did you move the cabinet?" I asked. "Start with that." She looked at her hands. They were neat, nails short, no polish. He bought it in New York, she said. He said it belonged in a real home, not the small place we had before. He said I should be grateful. It was the first thing he moved into this house. He told me it was his, not ours. When he was angry, he would stand in front of it and lecture me. About money. About loyalty. About respect. Her lips shook once. She took a breath and held it until it went still. So I see it. And I do not see furniture, she said. I see every time he made me feel small. I do not want to see it anymore. That is a good enough reason, I said. She looked up. Her eyes were wet, but no tears fell. You think I am overreacting, she said. No, I said. I think you are finally reacting. She laughed once, a rough little sound that surprised both of us. I am sorry I dragged you into this, she said. You just moved here. You did not sign up for drama. I bought a house, I said. The drama came with it. That made her smile for real, just a little. The muscles in her face relaxed. It changed her whole look. Softer. Younger. I glanced around the room. The kitchen was as neat as the rest of the house, but near the back door, half hidden behind a coat rack, I saw a canvas in a plastic bag. The corner of a painting peeked out. A blue sky, a bit of green field. You paint? I asked. Her eyes followed mine. She shook her head like she wanted to deny it, then gave up. I used to, she said. Before. Before what? Before my time became his, she said. I stood and walked over to the canvas. I did not pull it out all the way. I just touched the edge. This is good, I said. You have not seen it, she said. I can see enough, I said. You should do more. He does not like the mess, she said. He says it looks childish. He says real adults hire art. They do not make it. Maybe that is why he acts like a child, I said. Her mouth fell open just a little, then she covered it with her hand as she laughed. It came out stronger this time, not a broken sound. It filled the quiet house in a way that felt new. She reached for the drawer next to her and tugged. It stuck, then jerked hard. The handle came loose in her hand. Oh, she said. Great. Let me see, I said. I took the handle from her fingers. When our skin touched, there was that jolt again. Not shock. Awareness. I felt her pull in a breath. I crouched and checked the screws. One was stripped. Simple fix. I dug my small driver from my back pocket. I always had tools on me. You carry that everywhere? She asked. Pretty much, I said. You never know when something might fall apart. You mean like marriages? She asked. Her voice was light, but her eyes were not. Those two, I said. I tightened the screw and put the handle back in place. Try it, I said. She opened and closed the drawer. It slid smooth now. Thank you, she said. Again. You are. Welcome, I said. The quiet stretched between us, not heavy this time. It felt like something waiting to grow. Her hand drifted across the table until it almost touched mine. I did not move. I let her decide. Her fingers brushed my knuckles. Warm. Careful. She did not pull away. She left them there like a question. Then her phone rang on the counter. Both of us jumped. The screen lit up with a name we both knew even without reading it. Dan. Her hand shook as she reached for it. She looked at me over her shoulder. Can you stay? She asked. Just until I am done. I am not going anywhere, I said. She nodded, hit answer, and lifted the phone to her ear. Hi, she said softly. I could hear his voice from where I sat. Sharp, fast, already annoyed. Demanding to know where she was, what she was doing, why she had not sent him a picture of the house today like he told her. Yes, I moved it, she said, glancing at the empty wall. The cabinet. It was too big. I wanted light. His reply was a burst of anger that I could not fully hear, but I saw the effect. Her shoulders tightened. Her free hand gripped the back of the chair so hard her knuckles went white. I understand, she said. No, I am at home. Just home. She listened again. Her eyes met mine. Her lips parted. You are what? She whispered. My chest went tight. She swallowed. Okay, she said. Her voice went thin. She ended the call and set the phone down very slowly, like it might explode. What did he say? I asked. She looked at me, fear back in her eyes, mixed with something worse. Resignation. He changed his flight, she said. He is coming back tonight. For a second I thought I had heard her wrong. Tonight? I asked. She nodded. Her hand went to her throat. He said the client canceled. He changed his flight. He wants to check on things. The words were flat, but I heard the fear under them. It hit my chest like a weight. Tonight meant hours, not days. The window we thought we had shrank to a crack. Okay, I said. Then we use today. For what? She asked. To move more furniture? There was a bitter edge in her voice. To make you safer, I said. And less alone. She sank back into the chair like her knees gave up. He owns the house, she said. The cars, the accounts, my phone plan, everything. I have nowhere to go he cannot touch. You have a neighbor, I said. Her eyes snapped up. I did not look away. I am serious, I said. I cannot fix everything today, but we can do some things. We can make sure there is no surprise waiting in your walls. We can get your important stuff in one place. We can think about who you trust besides me. Her fingers twisted together. He checks my phone records, she said. He checks my bank logins. He knows every place I swipe a card. If I leave, he will drag me back just to prove that he can. Anger burned hot in my gut. Not at her. At him. At anyone who thought love meant control. You ever feel like you are being watched in here? I asked. She blinked. The question threw her. Sometimes, she said slowly. Sometimes I feel like he knows things I did not tell him. Little things. Like if I moved a chair or bought coffee at the store near my gym instead of the one by his office. I thought about the fresh patch on the wall. The way he loved that cabinet. The call from the plane asking about the room. The way Paul had looked at the empty space. Show me everywhere he insisted on handling himself. I said. Repairs, upgrades, anything new. She frowned but stood. Why? Because people like him like to know everything, I said. When they cannot be in the room, they find ways to pull it closer. We started with the patched wall. I tapped my knuckles along the surface, searching for a hollow sound. Part of it rang, just a little off. I crouched and checked the outlet near the baseboard. The cover plate was newer than the others in the house. Different screws. Got a small screwdriver? I asked. She nodded and went to the junk drawer. When she came back, her hand bumped mine as she passed it. My fingers closed around the handle over hers. For a moment we stayed like that, both holding the same tool. Then she let go. I worked the screws loose and pulled the outlet forward just enough to see behind it. Regular wires. One extra thin line taped tight against them. That does not belong there, I said. Her breath hitched. What is it? Could be power for a little device, I said. Mic, maybe. Camera. I cannot say for sure from here, but it is not standard. Her face went pale. She took a small step back. How long? She whispered. Hard to know, I said. But if he had that cabinet in front of this wall, it would hide any small holes, any work. Anyone walking in would just see furniture. Her eyes hardened. He used that cabinet to talk at me for hours. The whole time he was listening too. I looked up, following the thin line with my eyes. It ran up inside the wall, toward the ceiling, toward the hall. Let us check the hall, I said. We crossed into the hallway. A smoke detector sat in the center of the ceiling. Simple, white, nothing special at a glance. I had seen a lot of them. This one had a tiny extra seam on one side. Can you get me a chair? I asked. She dragged a dining chair over. I stepped up on it and twisted the detector loose. Inside, next to the normal parts, a small black module sat taped in with another thin wire. I held it down where she could see. That is not stock, I said. Her hand flew to her mouth. So he has been listening, she said. When I thought I was alone, when I called my sister, when I cried in the hall because I did not want him to hear in the bedroom, he heard anyway. I climbed down and set the detector on the table. I took out my phone and snapped a clear picture of the extra device, the wires, the way it was attached. Why are you doing that? She asked. Because if this goes to court, this is evidence, I said. Pattern. Control. You might need it one day. Her spine straightened a little. Hearing the word court woke something sharp in her. He would hate that, she said. Good, I said. Can you take it out? She asked. Yes, I said. But I want you to take a picture too. On your phone. Back it up somewhere he cannot reach if you can. Email, cloud, friend. Anything. Her hand still shook as she lifted her phone, but the camera stayed steady. Snap. Snap. She documented each angle. Then she nodded. Do it, she said. I pulled the extra module free and clipped the thin wire clean with my pocket knife. The piece sat in my palm like nothing. Light. Harmless on its own. Her eyes burned as she looked at it. He put part of himself in my ceiling, she said. He put a problem there, I said. We are taking it out. I wrapped the little module in a paper towel and slid it into my pocket. Not to keep. To make sure it left the house. I put the detector back like normal. That is one, I said. There may be more. Cameras outside, maybe. Audio in other rooms. But that was his main listening post for this hall. She leaned against the wall and slid down until she sat on the floor. For the first time, tears rolled fast down her cheeks. Not soft. Angry. All this time I thought I was crazy, she said. I thought I was making it up in my head. That is what he said. He said I imagined things. You did not imagine this, I said. I sat on the floor across from her, knees bent, hands loose on my thighs. She hid her face for a second, then dropped her hands and forced herself to look at me. What do I do? She asked. When he comes. When he yells. When he finds out about the cabinet and the wall and this thing. She tapped the baseboard beside her. You do not have to decide the rest of your life today, I said. For tonight, we have simple steps. First, you do not stay here alone if you do not want to. If you feel unsafe, you come to my house. You knock, you call, you throw a rock at my window. I do not care. I will answer. Her lips parted. He will see your truck. Good, I said. He already knows I exist. He sent a guy to this house today. That line is crossed. There is no going back to clean and polite. She let out a shaky laugh. You make it sound so simple. It is not, I said. It is just clear. She pushed her hair back from her face. Her fingers left faint streaks of salt on her cheeks. She did not wipe them away like she was ashamed. That felt like a win. What if he tries to keep me here? She asked. He has never locked the doors, but he could. He could take my keys, my phone. I felt my jaw flex. If he lays a hand on you, you call the police, I said. If you cannot call, you run to the yard and scream. You make noise. You bring people. Abusers hate light. The word hung in the air. Abuser. She had never said it out loud. I saw her mouth twist around it. I should call someone now, she said. A hotline, a lawyer, my sister, somebody. If I do it when he is here, it will blow up. She looked at the clock on the wall. It was just past 3. He lands at 7, she said. He will be here by 8. That gives us time, I said. You have a sister you trust? She nodded. Jenny. She lives in Chicago. She has been telling me to leave for a year. I did not want to admit she was right. Call her, I said. Tell her what we found. Ask if she can be on the phone when he comes, even if she stays quiet. Just knowing someone hears can change how he behaves, and it gives you a witness. Her throat worked. He will be furious if he finds out. He will be furious anyway, I said. This way, you are not alone in it. She stared at the floor for a long moment, thinking. Then she stood. Will you stay? She asked. Her voice was small but steady. I rose too. Yes, I said. On one condition. Her brows lifted. What? You do not hide in the bedroom while he rages in the hall, I said. You do not make yourself smaller to keep him calm. You stand up straight, and you remember this is your house too. That does not mean you fight for fun. It means you do not fold. She took that in like a piece of heavy furniture she had to decide whether to keep. Okay, she said finally. I will try. That is all, I said. You do not have to be a movie hero. You just have to stop lying to yourself for his comfort. Her eyes softened. You are very direct, she said. Job hazard, I said. Wood does not respond to hints. She smiled at that, a small curve that reached her eyes this time. She called her sister from the kitchen while I walked the outside of the house. I found one small camera tucked into the corner of the porch light. I turned it slightly to point at the street instead of the door and blocked the lens with a small smear of mud that looked like dirt from the storm last week. If he checked the feed, he would think the angle was off from a bump. When I came back in, Emily was off the phone. Her cheeks were blotchy, but she looked more solid. Jenny will stay by her phone, she said. She said if I say the word blue, she will call the police no matter what I say after. Good, I said. That is a plan. We spent the next hour gathering her important things. Birth certificate, passport, a few old photos, a flash drive with her art files, the small cash she had hidden in a coffee can in the pantry. She laughed when I guessed the can on the first try. You have done this before, she said. People hide their best stuff in their worst coffee, I said. It is a rule. We put everything in a plain black backpack and set it by the back door where she could grab it fast. As the sun slid lower, the house changed. The light went softer, the shadows longer. My chest tightened with each minute that passed. Emily made coffee just to have something to do with her hands. I took a mug, but I barely tasted it. At 7:30, the sky turned a deeper blue. At 7:45, I heard it. A car engine, familiar from the nights before. Smooth. Expensive. Too fast for our quiet street. Emily's hand found mine on the edge of the counter and gripped. Headlights swept across the front windows, bright and sharp. "He is here," she whispered. The silver SUV stopped in her driveway like it owned the concrete. I felt Emily's fingers dig into my hand. Her grip was small but fierce. I squeezed back. "Stay behind me when he comes in," I said quietly. "Not because you are weak. Because it gives you a second to read him." She nodded once. Her jaw was tight, eyes dry. No more tears. The front door rattled. His key scraped, then turned hard. The door swung open with more force than needed. He stepped in like he was kicking the air out of the room. Dan Cooper was taller than me by an inch, broader in the shoulders. Mid-40s. Nice suit, loosened tie, perfect haircut, anger in every line of his face. His eyes hit me first. "Who the hell are you?" he snapped. I did not move from the kitchen entrance. I did not square up. I just stood there, feet planted, hands loose, like this was my house too. "Ryan," I said. "Your neighbor." I helped move a cabinet. His gaze shot past me to Emily. He said sharp. "We talked about this. No people in the house when I am gone." Emily stepped out from behind me, but she stayed close. "We are not children, Dan," she said. "Ryan is next door." He was helping. He laughed, short and ugly. "Helping you do what? Rearrange my property? Throw things out? Get a nice show while you sign divorce papers?" He dropped his overnight bag by the door. The sound made Emily flinch. He saw it. His eyes softened for a second, fake, then hardened again. "Where is the cabinet?" he demanded. "Garage," she said. He took 2 long strides past us into the front room. When he saw the empty space on the wall, he stopped dead. "You moved it," he said. "You moved my cabinet." "I did," she said. Her voice was steady. His hands curled. "After I told you not to touch my things, you still do this. You never listen, Emily. Never. You push and push until I have to do something about it." He turned back to her, eyes bright with anger. For the first time, he really looked at me standing between them and the hall. "She made you move it?" he asked. "You think this is some kind of game?" "I think it is furniture," I said. "Not a shrine." His mouth twisted. "You have no idea what you have walked into, son. You want to play hero, but you do not know the rules. This is my house, my wife, my money. You are trespassing." "Actually," I said, "she invited me in. That is all I need." Emily's hand brushed my arm. She took a breath. "Dan," she said, "I do not like that cabinet. I do not want it in the house. It makes me feel sick. So I moved it. That is what people do when they live somewhere. They move furniture." Her tone was calm and flat. It made him angrier than shouting would have. "I worked for that cabinet," he said. "I paid for this house, that car, those clothes on your back. You want to talk about feelings while you wreck what I built." He took a step toward her. I shifted to keep my body between them. "Stop," I said. He laughed again, louder. "You think I am scared of you? You think she is going to run off to your little fixer-upper and live on paint fumes and cheap beer? She cannot even buy a carton of eggs without me." "Then maybe that is the problem," I said. His eyes cut to me, sharp and dark. For a moment, I wondered if he would swing. I did not want to fight, but I was not going to move. Emily spoke first. "Dan," she said, "I made coffee. You must be tired from your flight. We can sit in the kitchen and talk like adults." Her voice had a strange calm in it. I realized what she was doing. She was drawing him to the table where her phone sat, where her sister was ready. He snorted, but he followed. In the kitchen, he threw his keys on the counter and yanked a cabinet door open like he owned the air inside. He grabbed a mug and slammed it down. His hand landed on a blue one by chance. Emily's eyes flicked to it, then to me. "That is my favorite blue mug," she said loudly. I knew the word. Jenny knew the word. It slid into the room like a tiny blade. Dan poured himself coffee from the pot without asking. He sipped, then grimaced. "Cold," he said. "Like this house." He dropped into a chair and looked from me to Emily. "Phone," he said. "Bring it." Emily walked to the counter. Her movements were slow and deliberate. She picked up the phone and held it where he could see her finger unlock it. Then she set it on the table, screen down. "You want to look through my calls, my messages? Go ahead," she said. "It is what you do." His eyes narrowed. He flipped the phone over and started tapping. While he was busy, Emily slid her other hand under the table and pressed mine. Her palm was ice cold. "He called you," Dan said, glaring at the screen. "Twice. 3 times. Neighbor boy, what did you talk about? Gardening, she said. The broken drawer. The cabinet. You being on a trip. He grunted. You think you are funny. He tossed the phone back on the table. It buzzed almost at once. He frowned at the number. Who is this? He muttered. Emily's shoulders stiffened. Answer it, she said. Put it on speaker. He did, more to show he was in charge than because she asked. Hello, he said. A woman's voice came through, firm and clear. This is Officer Reynolds with the Columbus Police Department. We received a call about a possible domestic issue at this address. Is everything all right, sir? Dan's eyes went wide, then flat. There is no problem, he said quickly. My wife is overreacting and dragging strangers into our private life. Emily met my eyes. Then she leaned toward the phone. This is Emily Cooper, she said. I am not safe with my husband when he is angry. I would like an officer to come. Her voice shook on the last word, but she finished it. Dan stared at her like she had grown a second head. Emily, he hissed. Think about what you were saying. I have, she said. For a long time. The officer spoke again. Ma'am, we have units close by. We will send someone to check in. Please stay inside and away from any weapons. We are on our way. Dan stabbed the screen to hang up. His face turned a dark red. You just called the cops on me, he said. After everything I have done for you. He stood so fast the chair scraped back. His hand shot out and grabbed her wrist. The sound pulled something primal in me. I was on my feet before I knew I had moved. Let her go, I said. He squeezed. Emily gasped in pain. I am talking to my wife, he snapped. I stepped in and put my hand on his forearm, not gentle this time. I pried his fingers off her one by one. He was strong, but he was not ready for someone who spent every day lifting lumber in sinks. Let her go, I repeated. His hand opened. Emily jerked her arm back and stepped behind me. You are assaulting me in my own house, Dan said. I will ruin you for this. You grabbed her first, I said. My heart pounded, but my voice stayed level. And now the police are coming. You want a record of that? Keep talking. He glanced at the front window. You could hear it now. Sirens. Not loud, but getting closer. This is your fault, he spat at Emily. You made this messy. I try to give you everything, and you call the cops. You gave me fear, she said quietly. All the rest came with strings. He opened his mouth to fire back, but the siren cut off outside. Doors slammed. A knock hit the door, firm and official. Police, a voice called. Emily walked toward the door. Her legs shook, but she went. I stayed between her and Dan as we moved. She opened the door to two officers in uniform, one man, one woman. Their eyes took in the scene fast. Tense faces, red marks on Emily's wrist, Dan's posture, my stance. Ma'am, the female officer said. Are you the one who called? Yes, Emily said. I am Emily Cooper. Can we come in? She asked. Emily stepped back. Please. They entered. The air changed. The house was not just Dan's stage anymore. The officers asked questions. Calm, direct, the way I like to talk to Wood. Emily told them about the wall, the listening device, the cameras, the control. She mentioned photos, videos, the hidden wire. She held her wrist out so they could see the fresh red marks. Dan tried charm first, then anger, then that wounded look some men wear when they are caught. I have never hit my wife, he said. I may have grabbed her arm. She gets hysterical. She calls people in. She embarrasses me in front of my coworkers and the neighbors. The male officer looked at me. Sir, did you see him grab her? Yes, I said. He grabbed hard enough to make her yelp. I removed his hand. So you admit you put your hands on me, Dan cut in. I admit I stopped you from hurting your wife, I said. They separated us to talk. One officer took Dan to the front room. The other stayed with Emily and me in the kitchen. She looked at me only once, and I saw it then. She believed Emily. Ms. Cooper, she said gently. Do you want to file for a protective order? Emily hesitated. Her eyes traveled over the counters, the cabinets, the life she had here. Then she looked at me. I did not nod or shake my head. This was her choice. Yes, she said. I do. The officer wrote things down. Dates, times, names. Emily said the word afraid out loud. She said control. She said listen in my own house. When the officers left, they took Dan with them. Not in cuffs, but in the back of the car. For further talk, they said. Long enough. The SUV sat alone in the driveway. The house went quiet again. This time it felt like the air had been scrubbed. Emily stood in the middle of the living room with her arms wrapped around herself. She was shivering. "It is over," I said softly. She shook her head. "No. It is starting," she said. "Lawyers. Court. Money. He will fight." "Yes," I said. "But you are not fighting in the dark anymore. And you are not fighting alone." Her arms dropped. She took a step toward me. Then another. Her eyes were bright, but she was not crying. "You do not have to stay," she said. "You did more than enough. You could walk back to your quiet house and pretend you never met me." "I do not want to pretend," I said. "And my house is not quiet anymore. Not since you asked me to move furniture." That pulled a small laugh from her. She exhaled. I lifted my hand and gently touched her wrist where his fingers had been. "Does it hurt?" I asked. "A little," she said. "Less than it used to." She watched my hand on her skin. Then she turned her palm and slid her fingers into mine. "Stay," she said. "Not because I am scared now. Because I feel safe when you are here." My chest warmed at that. Simple words. Big weight. "I will stay," I said. Weeks later, leaves began to turn in the trees on our street. The cabinet was gone for good, broken down and hauled away. The listening device was in a police evidence bag. The cameras were removed. Emily had a temporary order that said he could not come near the house. She had a new bank account in her own name, a lawyer of her own, a plan. I built her a bookshelf in the room where the cabinet used to stand. Light wood, open shelves, soft edges. We filled it with her paintings, framed and proud. The first time she sold one online, she ran next door without knocking. I was in my garage planing boards. She held up her phone, eyes wide. "Someone paid money for something I made," she said. "Real money." "That is because it is good," I said. She looked at me for a long second. Then she leaned in and kissed me. Not fast, not stolen. Slow. Certain. The kind of kiss that comes after fear has had its last word and you are done letting it run your life. When we broke apart, she rested her forehead against mine. "Thank you," she whispered. "For what?" I asked. "For answering when I said my husband was on a trip," she said. "For not making me move the furniture alone." I looked past her shoulder to the window. Our two houses stood side by side under the same sky. My old yellow place and her white one. In the small patch between them, new hydrangeas grew where bare dirt had been. "I just carried the heavy stuff," I said. She smiled. "You carried more than that," she said. "Maybe I did. Maybe we both did." In simple terms, I was just a guy next door with a tool belt and a stubborn streak. She was just a woman who wanted to breathe in her own kitchen. But standing there with her hand in mine, the late lights spilling over her face and the sound of kids biking down the street, it felt like something bigger. My married neighbor once whispered, "My husband is on a trip," and asked me to help move the furniture. She did not know it that day, but she was really moving her life. And I was more than ready to help her carry it.
If this story stayed with your heart, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with your friends. Thank you.